guys saw where we last left off, we were putting on a hard pipe on the 1J. And as you can see here, I was, finishing up building the pipe and then getting ready to install it and put it on the motor. So happened, though, that as I was tightening up everything, tightening, adjusting, trying to make it perfect, the fitting fell off. So we're getting ready to put on this hardline, but, the press-in fitting came out. Would have fit good, but unfortunately, ain't gonna work no more. So now we have to get out the handy-dandy tap and die set. So it's an M18 by 1.5, and luckily you're able to use it on the engine without having to drill the head at all. For me, that's a really good thing because I didn't want to weld it because my long block's already assembled. So from here, kind of just slowly make your way, making a couple turns going in and then making sure to turn it counterclockwise to get out all those shavings and stuff from it. It takes a little process. I was trying to be really careful. I didn't want to strip any threads out or anything, but once you get that going and you're sure it can tighten and you have enough thread for your fitting, you're pretty much good to go. Now just spray some brake cleaner, make sure it's clean, and then you can grab a Fragola fitting like I use. That adapts it to a dash 10 fitting. And then once you have that, you make sure you don't forget this crush washer, and you can install the fitting. It should be able to thread in nice and smoothly without any major pressure. You should be able to thread it on by hand, completely by hand, and it should be able to seep all the way down. Now once you got the fitting all tightened up, you can grab the other fittings you're going to use. For me, I'm using a 90 degree on this side and a 90 degree on the other side. And then to connect them, what I'm using is an aluminum hardline pipe because I really wanted to avoid having any rubber hoses and any hose clamps, especially in the back of the engine here where it's kind of hard to access for anything melting or getting hot or just having leaks. Now, I made this pipe intending for it to use that press-on fitting, but now that that's gone, I have to try to salvage this pipe and make it work. So here's what we're going to do. Just so you understand the basics of what we're doing here, this is the flare on the fitting. This is the flare we're going to be creating by using our single and double flaring tool. Next is the sealing ring, I think it's called. Don't quote me on that. But this is what helps everything seal. And then when you use the fitting, it all gets tightened together. Now for this process, I just use the loan a tool service from AutoZone, where you can get a tool from them. They charge your card, and then when you return it, you get refunded. So they have a long list of items that you can choose from this that allows you to use a lot of tools. And if you like the tool or you think, hey, I might need this and always use it, then you can just keep it and then you just don't get refunded. So that's what I did. So now I have this, and I plan to do all my brake lines as well with hardline and redo them, as well as all my boost lines and any of these minor coolant or heater hose lines or anything like that that are usually prone to cracking, breaking, or leaking. So the process here is you stick your tube in, you leave a little bit out there, you tighten it all down, not too much to crush it, and then this green part on top is where you create your flare. So you squish it and squish it and squish it. The problem is if you squish it too much, it'll crack, and if you don't squish it enough, it's not going to seal. I learned from trial and error, but I'm sure there's many videos on YouTube for you to see exactly how to do it and the best ways. And this time I tried to pay some attention to show you guys kind of what it looks like. So this is the flare you create, And now I got to do the other side because we have a fitting on each side. I ended up making an entirely new tube for it because the old one I just couldn't salvage. Luckily I had some extra tubing and I bent it until I think it would fit, and now I'm just flaring them with the fittings I got from Racetronics.
Baby! Oh, goddamn, bitch. Oh, yeah. Bus ba?
And you can see here the fitting, the collet, it all goes together. It's able to stay on there. And so I'm doing the second side now. I had to flare the first side a little extra because I wasn't quite happy with it. Now you can kind of see the final product. The nice flares in there. The pipe kind of gets stuck every time you do it because the top is bigger and it can't really come out. But, you know, it got a nice flare on it. The fitting can't come out and you're creating a really nice seal that hopefully won't leak. Now you get to see the final product. It's all bolted in, tucked in nicely. Connects really well and it's easy to take off for service if you ever have to. And then I went a little step further and I routed all my EGT lines to the race grade box. And what that essentially does is allows my ECU to see the temperatures of each individual cylinder, just in case, some extra data so I can know if anything's wrong. And basically, yeah, a lot of these 1Js have this problem. So this is something that a lot of people might want to do just to prevent that leak. If you ever seem like, hey, my car always has a little bit of air in the coolant system, or maybe it's running a little hot or something like that, this is probably one of those little culprits. These nipple fittings on the JZ heads tend to get hot and cold as it cycles and ages, and what happens is that press fit becomes a little loose, and a lot of the guys are seeing that eventually they either leak or pop out. So if it's in that process and starting to happen, sometimes it will pull air into the system. And on screen, I just want to leave you with a little bit of a sneak peek of a video that we're in the process of making. As always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. And I'm also moving into a new shop, so I'll have a lot of updates for you guys as well. Thank you and have a good day.